today we're going through top 3 locations to look at for New South Wales and more specifically for Sydney. And for today, we're going to be going through the Ripehouse data tool and walking you through which are some locations which are looking quite strong from a data perspective. For full disclosure, these locations we are looking in, they have not gone through the manual vetting process. They may or may not have, but we're just going to allow us to do our early preliminary work in terms of looking at these areas purely from a data perspective and which ones are showing kind of bullish indicators moving forward. So before we get to that, let's just get into it. I'm going to bring it up right now on my other screen. So I guess if you're unfamiliar with this tool here, so this is the Ripehouse algorithm. The Ripehouse algorithm has been in play now for over 13 years. So it's been a tool that's been updated, reviewed, spent thousands and thousands of hours getting it to the point where it is now the industry standard and has one of the longest, if not the longest, track record of performance across the country. And essentially what it's doing, it's looking at a myriad of data factors with all different weighting scores of relevance and which ones can impact each and capital growth each and every time. So the ones that have those biggest weighting of influences are such like population growth, proximity to utilities, amenities, the contraction of vacancy rates and rental house price growth as well can be kind of indicators of when we need to be timing our way into a market, because there is a lag effect. If you're starting to see significant house price growth in a certain suburb and it's well above the state average, that suburb might have already popped off, but you may have other surrounding suburbs nearby which are lagging significantly behind and they're about to catch up with that bit of a tailwind behind. So let's get into the first one. So for the first one today, get my screen over here. We're going to be looking at Hoxton Park. And apologies to the Sydney side as if I'm butchering the pronunciations, but Hoxton Park in the Liverpool LGA, and just having a quick snapshot there. So median price of the area is in and around the $1 million price point. So, admittedly, it's not a super affordable suburb for property investing, but that doesn't stop everybody. A lot of people in Sydney who may just purely be looking to invest in Sydney, this could be a great entry point for you. So around that $1 million price point, the yields are sitting at 3.3%, and some indicators of why this is looking quite strong. So the sold price delta versus the state average. So the state average over the last quarter has been around that 8.1% mark. However, for the suburb of Hoxton Park, it's only gone forward 2.9%. So we're seeing quite a big discrepancy there. So that in itself is normally a bit of an indicator that we're about to come through there. It's about a 5.1% difference. We've got fantastic proximity to utilities sitting at 92%, so the top 8% across the country. And it's sitting at 91% on the R score. So it's sitting in that top 10% of growth perspective, purely from data and AI. We haven't done any manual due diligence at this point. One of the other things we like to see is that there is some rental price growth happening in that area, and vacancy rates are quite tight already. So they're already sitting at 0.9%, and that has come down again from last month's figures. So it's something of significant interest for us. The second one we're going to is Macquarie Field. So if I can get over to this one over here. There we go. So Macquarie Fields is sitting in Campbelltown, and I'm going to get it up on my screen over here so we can read along it together. So a bit more of an affordable suburb, around that kind of $850,000 price point. Surprisingly though, the yields are slightly lower. So we're looking at a 3% yield. And again, the other big indicator for us here is the state growth price around that area, or versus the state average. So the state average has been higher. That area has gotten 2.4%, and the discrepancy again is minus 5.1%. Now, one thing to note here in this suburb is there's quite a lot of public housing. There's actually 21% public housing in that area, so you're going to need to pick your eyeballs out of this suburb and pick the exact right streets to be targeting. We ideally want to be away from there. Vacancy rates are down to 1%, which have compressed 30% from that last data check. And again, rental price is continuing to move forward. So very bullish indicators, sitting at 85% on the R score. So that's still sitting in the top 15% of growth. And then the final one we're going to be going through is Villawood. And let me just pull that open on this screen now. So Villawood sitting in the Canterbury Bankstown LGA. Again, pretty similar to Hoxton Park, around that $1 million price point. Yields are coming down further. So we're now at 2.9%. And there's a big discrepancy here. So we've had a sold delta of about 4.5% and versus the state average of 9.6. So there's a big gap there happening as well. We're also seeing quite a significant drop in vacancy rates. We've got a 0.5% vacancy rate. So to put that in perspective, that is 1 in every 200 properties that are available for rent in that market are available as of today. So that's extremely, extremely tight. And we are seeing rental price growth. And as a result of that, on the R score, it's sitting at 86% out of 100. So another one that's in the top 15% for capital growth. Make sure you do leave a comment. If you're not already, make sure you pre-subscribe to get access to that course as soon as available for access in March. We're talking weeks, not months. If you like what you saw today, if you've got any comments or thoughts about the New South Wales market, please leave a comment below. If you're not already, make sure you subscribe and hit that like button, and we're looking forward to catch you on the next one. Bye for now.